Description: AWS CloudFormation templates are text files that define the infrastructure resources you want to create in your AWS environment. These templates use a declarative language, either JSON or YAML, to specify the resources, their properties, and how they should be interconnected. Prerequisites: AWS account. You need an AWS account to create and manage CloudFormation stacks. In-user with appropriate permissions. You need an in-user with permissions to create, update, and delete CloudFormation stacks and the resources they define. Basic understanding of CloudFormation. Familiarity with CloudFormation concepts, such as stacks, resources, and templates, is helpful. Use cases: infrastructure as code. CloudFormation templates allow you to define your infrastructure as code, enabling you to version, manage, and reuse your infrastructure definitions. Deploying and managing AWS resources. You can use CloudFormation templates to deploy and manage a wide variety of AWS resources, including EC2 instances, S3 buckets, VPCs, and more. Automating infrastructure provisioning. CloudFormation automates the process of creating and configuring your AWS infrastructure, saving you time and effort. Steps: define resources in a template. The template defines the resources you want to create, such as EC2 instances, S3 buckets, or ING roles. Specify resource properties. Each resource in the template has its own set of properties that define its configuration. For example, an EC2 instance might have properties for its instance type, AMI ID, and security group. Create a CloudFormation stack. A stack is a collection of AWS resources that are defined in a template. To create a stack, you provide the template to CloudFormation. Deploy the stack. Once you create a stack, CloudFormation deploys the resources defined in the template to your AWS account. Challenges and fixes: stack creation failure. Check template syntax. Ensure that the template follows the correct syntax for JSON or YAML. Verify resource properties. Make sure that the resource properties are valid and meet the requirements of the AWS service. Ensure sufficient permissions. Verify that the in-user has the necessary permissions to create the resources defined in the template. Fixes: template syntax. Refer to the CloudFormation documentation for the correct syntax and structure of templates. Resource properties. Check the AWS documentation for the specific resource to ensure that the properties are valid and meet the requirements. Permissions. Grant the appropriate permissions to the in-user or role. Resource provisioning errors. Check resource properties. Ensure that the resource properties are correct and meet the requirements of the AWS service. Verify resource dependencies. Ensure that the resources have the correct dependencies, and that the dependent resources are created before the resources that depend on them. Troubleshoot resource-specific errors. Check the CloudFormation logs and the AWS service-specific documentation for details about the errors. Fixes: resource properties. Correct the resource properties based on the AWS documentation and error messages. Resource dependencies. Review the resource dependencies and ensure that the resources are created in the correct order. Resource-specific errors. Consult the AWS documentation and troubleshooting guides for the specific resource to resolve the errors. Stack update failures. Check for resource changes. Determine if there are any changes to the resources defined in the template that are incompatible with the existing resources. Ensure proper update policy. Review the update policy for the stack to ensure that it allows for the changes you are making. Resolve conflicts between existing resources and the template. Identify and resolve any conflicts. between the resources defined in the template and the existing resources in your AWS account. Fixes. Resource changes make necessary adjustments to the template or existing resources to resolve any incompatibilities. Update policy. Modify the stack's update policy to allow for the necessary changes. Conflicts. Analyze the conflicts and take appropriate action, such as deleting or modifying existing resources or adjusting the template. Stack deletion issues. Ensure proper cleanup of resources. Review the template to ensure that all resources are properly deleted when the stack is deleted. Address dependencies between resources. Make sure that resources that depend on other resources are deleted before the resources they depend on. Delete related resources manually if necessary. In some cases, you may need to delete related resources manually if they are not automatically deleted when the stack is deleted. Fixes. Cleanup. Ensure the template includes the appropriate deletion policies for each resource to ensure a clean removal. Dependencies. Review and adjust resource deletion order to handle dependencies correctly. Manual deletion if necessary. Delete related resources manually.